Welcome back to another enlightening episode of MH Knows, or She Knows Someone Who Does, Unlocking Real Estate Secrets. I'm your host, Marianne Holt, and today we're delving into a critical topic that affects so many lives: foreclosure prevention. I'm delighted to introduce our esteemed guest, Ramona Taylor King, with over 2 decades as a certified housing counselor. Ramona brings unparalleled expertise to the table. Her passion for helping individuals understand and navigate the complexities of foreclosure prevention has made her a trusted expert in the real estate industry. Ramona serves as a beacon of guidance in our community, providing invaluable insights into foreclosure prevention strategies. Her vast knowledge encompasses understanding defaults, managing foreclosures, and addressing credit issues and money management, all essential components in safeguarding your home and financial well-being. You're in for a treat today. Ramona Taylor King, a certified housing counselor, is here to demystify the process, debunk myths, and share those aha moments that could be the key to preventing foreclosure and securing your future. What makes Ramona truly remarkable is her commitment to providing independent, reliable advice to individuals facing the daunting prospect of foreclosure. She's dedicated to equipping you with the knowledge you need to make informed decisions about your housing journey, ensuring that you have the tools to navigate even the most challenging circumstances. Whether you're a homeowner concerned about potential foreclosure or someone who wants to be proactive in securing their property. So without further ado, let's dive into our conversation with Ramona, prepare to gain insights, wisdom, and actionable advice that could be the lifeline you've been searching for in your journey to prevent foreclosure. Ramona, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming. How are you today?
I am good, Marianne. I am feeling a whole lot better with that introduction. I'm thinking, let me get some of those words to put that on my bio. That was an awesome introduction.
Well, you let me know if you want me to write you a bio. I'll do it for you.
Yeah. You would definitely do a good job. You would definitely make sure that I shine, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate you, giving me the invite to come on your podcast this evening. I really appreciate it. And you're right. People really need to know the ins and outs of foreclosure. So I think this is a great topic that you have actually picked for this evening. So I'm here. Right. I'm at your disposal. And any information that I can provide, it is definitely my pleasure.
Okay,
it is
wonderful.
My pleasure.
Wonderful. So I want to approach this in a way, I just want us to have a conversation. You and I have known each other for years, and when we get on the phone and talk, we talk for hours.
Yes,
and I want this to be just that free and relaxed. Sure, we're going to cover certain things, but I want us to be able to relax and just have a conversation. And I want to first start off with, people hear the word foreclosure, right? But I wanted to know if you can kind of give us a brief description of what a foreclosure really is.
Yeah, so Marianne, a foreclosure is a legal process, right, in which a lender attempts to recover the balance of a loan from a borrower who has not made payments.
Okay.
Who haven't made payments in at least 90 days.
Okay.
They neglect to contact the lender, let the lender know if they have fallen on some type of hardship. So the foreclosure actually forces the sale of the asset used as the collateral for the loan. So what happens is the lender says, listen, you haven't made any payments. Mm-hmm. And so their job is to send you documentation that your property is in jeopardy of being foreclosed on.
Okay. All right. And so people do get documentation, you're saying. Their mortgage company is sending paperwork that not only is saying we want our payments, but the paperwork is also telling them that you're in jeopardy of going into foreclosure. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. So they would receive something as an X6 or
Okay.
X91 notice,
Okay.
letting them know that they're in default and the lender is in the process of foreclosing on the property. So with the X6 and the X91, once that is once the homeowner receives that information, the lender does provide within that material that they can reach out to a housing counseling agency, such as one that I work with, Intercultural Family Services. Provide information with you have the option to reach out to a housing counseling agency and to try to get services to help you assist with some type of loss mitigation option that could potentially allow you to stay within your property.
Okay. So you said an X6 and an X, what was the other one?
An X6 and an X91 notice.
Okay. Which one comes first?
The X6 notice comes first.
Okay. And that's after how many months of being behind?
That's 2 months being behind. Okay. And then in the third month, the X91 notice comes.
Okay.
And that's when it's more of an aggressive attempt where you need to make payments to try to reinstate your mortgage. Meaning to reinstate the mortgage means that if you can pay the delinquency amount to reinstate the mortgage, then you would be back in good standards with the lender. You may have a homeowner that say, I never received the documentation, but it's just a matter of we encourage homeowners to always open their mail. Because sometimes the information can be in an envelope where it's just a regular document, a regular envelope from your mortgage company. That's why we always encourage the homeowner to always open your mail, especially if you haven't made payments, because it's not going to go away.
Okay.
It's going to be there until you actually address it.
Okay. And I really understand. I know what it's like to go through that. I really do. And it's like you're so afraid to open the mail because you can't pay for it anyway. So what's the point of opening the mail? But the reason you want to is because there's information that they're giving you that could potentially help you save your home, right? So when you let's say they're 2 months behind, they're getting their Act 6. They should immediately reach out to a certified HUD-approved housing counseling agency, correct?
Right, Marianne, that is correct. But I would say this. I would say, opposed to waiting to getting any documents from your mortgage company, I would say at the first sign of you not being able to make your mortgage payments, we all fall on a hardship.
Correct.
Life happens.
Yes.
And so when life happens, the best thing to do regarding your mortgage is to immediately contact your lender and let them know I've fallen on a hardship. And when we speak about a hardship, it can be as simple as, God forbid, someone in your family passed away.
Right. And
they don't have enough funds to cover the funeral cost.
Right.
And let's say if you said, listen, I want to help my family out. I want to help my loved one out to be buried. And, to be buried in a very compassionate way. And so you decide to give finances towards the funeral cost.
Right.
That's a hardship.
Okay.
If you have documentation stating that, showing proof that this is where your funds have went for the month, believe it or not, the mortgage company will be willing to look at something like that. Okay. They would be willing. Now, if you can prove it, they would be willing to review you for some type of loss mitigation option.
Okay.
Let's see if let's say if your pipes burst, or you had an issue with your roof. If you had some out of pocket emergency expenses that you had to pay for, and it's something that just snuck up on you. As long as you can show proof, the mortgage company would be willing to view you as someone that who has fallen on a hardship.
Okay. Okay.
But a lot of homeowners, and I get it, are afraid. I get it.
Right. They're afraid to call their mortgage company and tell them that they're struggling and that they
Right.
need some help, because they'll assume the mortgage company is just going to take their house as soon as they hear that.
No,
Right,
that
right.
yeah, that doesn't happen. Um,
Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm clear. You're saying before getting to the point where you're 2 months behind, if you already know that you're going to have a hard time making your payment because you maybe contribute money towards something that was really important, and it not somebody's prom, but maybe like a funeral or something like that, that's considered a hardship. So then you should contact your mortgage company right away and try to work some kind of arrangement out.
I couldn't have said it no better than myself. Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So let's say they've gotten beyond that. So now when they come to see you, let's say they've gotten the Act 6. When they come to see you, what happens?
Well, when they come to see me, I would actually sit down with them. We would gather some documents. Um, the number one thing is I would definitely ask them for um, the proof of the hardship, their expenses. Let's say if someone, let's say a person's job downsized.
Okay.
Let's say if they got laid off.
Okay.
Um, they would need to provide documentation that had actually taken place.
Okay.
And so we would put a packet together. Um, excuse me. We would fill out an application. We would request that the lender provide us with an application to fill out, and we would package everything. We would package everything together, and then we would send it to the lender.
Okay.
And then the
Okay.
lender has at least between 30 to 45 days to provide us with a response.
Okay. So before coming to your office, they'll know in advance which documents they need to bring. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
once they call our office and they would say, Ms. King, I have not paid my mortgage, let's say in 3 months. My mortgage company forwarded me some documentation. And within the documentation, they sent me a list of counseling agencies. And I would like to, I'm interested in coming to your agency. And then I
Okay.
would ask them what happened, how did the hardship take place, and then I would send them an appointment slip along with documentation that would assist us with our appointment.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So then they come in, and then basically what you do you guys go over their credit and their budget during that
Yeah,
meeting?
yeah, we still absolutely we still we do a sustainable household budget. We do something where that's called the missing dollar. Let's see if there's monies that you may, we call it, what it is, money that you're just throwing away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't have it on a budget. You're not on a
Okay.
budget.
Okay.
Um, and 9 times out of 10, when that happens, when we do the sustainable budget, even though we do a budget based off of gross, and we also do a budget based off of net.
Mm-hmm.
And with any of us, once we have a budget that we set our eyes on, we realize, oh my God, am I really spending money like this? Am I
Mm-hmm.
buying 3 cups of coffee a day that's costing like $5?
Mm-hmm.
That money adds up.
It
Am I
sure
really
does.
going out to lunch every day? I'm buying lunch, I'm buying breakfast, and I'm buying lunch every day for 30 days. That money adds up.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a matter of, okay, let's cut back so we can have some more available funds.
Right. Right.
So providing a sustainable budget is it's key, because you
Okay.
want to know, especially as a homeowner, you want to know where your money is going.
Right.
Every nickel and every dime is important, because what you
Yes.
don't want, you never want anyone to live off of a credit card. And I've came across clients that, Miss King, it's okay. I know right now, and I really don't have the expenses to pay all of my bills, but I have my credit card, so I should be okay. But a
Okay.
credit card should not be looked upon as, this credit card is here to pay my bills every month. Credit cards should be looked at for emergency purposes. I would
Okay.
say, yeah, I would say that, because that can keep a homeowner out of a lot of trouble. Again, a sustainable, detailed budget.
Okay. And so after that session, you guys then, do you contact their lender while they're in the middle of the session or afterwards?
Yeah, we would need, that would be in the best interest for both parties, the housing counselor and the client,
Mm-hmm.
because I need authorization, because I'm a third party.
Okay.
I have, like, I'm, not on the loan or anything like that. So yeah, I would need to contact the lender for permission to speak with the lender on the behalf of the client, because I'm actually speaking on the behalf of the client.
When you're talking to the lender, exactly are you trying to accomplish for your client?
We're trying to accomplish a workout, a
Okay.
sustainable workout that will allow the client to remain in their home.
Okay.
And so and the only way we're going to be able to do that, we have to go through the lender. There is no other way that we can do that. And
Okay.
so let's say if a client received the Act 91, we do have the option to apply for a HEMAP. And HEMAP is the Homeowners Emergency Mortgage Assistance Program. And you can only apply for a HEMAP if your loan is a conventional loan. If it's a FHA loan, you cannot apply for the HEMAP. So let's say if you have a conventional loan, you can apply for a HEMAP. So I would contact the lender and let them know that we're interested and we're going to send up a HEMAP. But
Okay.
we can send up a HEMAP in conjunction with the loan modification too.
Okay.
So we can do them both. So HEMAP does not change the interest rates.
Okay.
Okay. But the loan modification is definitely geared to modifying the loan. And modifying the loan, which means it stretches out the term of the loan as well as lower the interest rate. So let's say if your term of your loan was for 30 years at a 4.75 interest rate. And so with the loan modification, they would stretch out your loan for like 40 years and then drop the loan. I've seen interest rates drop as low as 2%.
Okay. All right. So that's an option.
If they have fallen on a hardship, the goal is to get them back in a place where they're now sustained again and they're able to make the mortgage payments. It's wiggle room, basically. It's wiggle room where it will allow them to make the payments now with the loan, now that the loan has been modified.
Okay.
Stretched out for a longer term, and the interest rate has been dropped. Marianne, when I tell you, I've seen a client whose interest rate was dropped down to 1%, but this was like over 10 years ago. Her mortgage payments were like $200.
And how much were they before that? Do you remember?
Before that, her mortgage payments were probably $400.
Oh, that's a big difference. That's a big saving. That's $200. That's big. Wow.
Yeah, that was a great difference.
Okay. So, but in other cases where, they've fallen behind and they owe several thousands of dollars to their mortgage company because they fell behind, they get this, HEMAP loan. I don't know if it has an interest rate, but this loan is to pay back the delinquent amount. Is that what it's for, the HEMAP?
Right. It's like a second loan on the property.
Okay.
Okay, so look at it as like a lien. It's a second loan on the property. Most of the clients that I have worked with that has received a HEMAP, their payments for the HEMAP is like $25, maybe $30, and so that helps out a lot.
Okay. I see that being helpful for people who they're not going to be late all the time. They just had a situation and they're behind and they need some way of catching up. That's what I see the HEMAP for.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they need a way of being able to catch up, but they
Okay.
have to make sure that they make those payments for their HEMAT. They have to
Okay.
make sure, so they have to make sure that they make those payments and that they make those payments on time.
Okay. If they don't make the payment on time,
Foreclosure will begin again. And here's the thing about foreclosure. You have to be careful where, let's say, 2023, you've gotten a loan modification and things are going well. That whole year, let's say 2023, you made all your payments on time. 2024, you're back delinquent again. You're not a candidate for getting another loan modification.
okay.
Your circumstances, your hardship would have definitely have to be a whole lot different than that first hardship that you were on.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I guess I want to say this to the audience. Anybody who may have experienced this and they were able to catch up and they were able to start all over again and now something else has happened and they're going through this problem all over again. I just want them to know that don't give up. There's still resources provided the hardship is totally different. Is that correct?
Yes. I would always encourage those that are having some struggles to contact the housing counseling agency to see what type of services that they could potentially qualify for.
Okay.
You never know how it may work out with the mortgage company. I've seen cases where I have had documents on my desk and I'm like, okay, I don't know if this one is going to work. And it works.
Okay.
It works.
All right.
So I think that it's good. It's always in the homeowner's interest to always try.
Okay. So with the Act 6, and they come to you and you guys decide that the HEMAP makes sense for them, does that buy them time or will the mortgage company still keep coming after them while they're still in the process of applying for this HEMAP?
Well, what happens is while they're under review, they're still going to get notification that they're delinquent within their mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while under review, it wouldn't put the whole foreclosure on hold. But while the paperwork is being reviewed, the mortgage company is not going to come out and say or put a notice on your door and say you have to leave within 2 days, within 30 days.
Okay.
So within the CFPB guidelines, you have to halt it for a moment until a decision is made. I've come across individuals, once, I explained to them what the HEMAP represents. They're like, no, I'm not interested in the HEMAP. I'm just interested in doing a loan modification.
Okay.
And so, and that's okay.
Okay. So it's just their options. So when they sit in front of you, you just show them what the different options are.
I show them what different options that they may have. And we have some clients, I am not interested in the property. I'm not interested in remaining in the property. I'm interested in selling the property.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you just mentioned that. Okay, let's talk about that because there's other ways of, so let's say they do decide they don't want to do a HEMAP. They're not interested in doing bankruptcy. They're not interested in going through any of these processes. And I do want to come back to bankruptcy, but let me continue with this thought. They don't want to go through any of those processes. they would rather just get out of the house. Now, I know there are several things that you can do to just get out of the house, and some things affect your credit worse than others. What are those things that they can do? What are their options if they just want to just leave the house?
Well, we have an option called deed in lieu.
Mm-hmm. So that's deed in lieu of foreclosure.
Right. So deed in lieu
Okay.
basically says, listen, I'm no longer interested in the property anymore. You let the mortgage company know, so I want to return the property back to the lender. But now that's if the lender offer that type of program.
Okay.
That's what that's what the homeowner can do. So the lender takes them through a process of doing a deed in lieu.
Okay. And who would normally be a candidate for a deed in lieu?
Anyone that's not interested in keeping their property.
But I would think it would have to be more to that. I can't imagine me being able to call the mortgage company and saying I don't want the property anymore. I mean, maybe because they can't afford it anymore, or maybe they're sick and they need to go into a facility. You know what I mean? Like or is it simply that they just don't want it anymore and they're willing to look at that?
They can use that as I no longer can afford the property. I'm no longer interested in remaining in the property. That's a great example. And so they would take you through a process. Here's the documentation. We can do a deed in lieu, which means that you're returning the property back to us. Now, once they put their property up for sale, because remember, the mortgage company has to do a oh God, it's off right on the top of my head. A home inspection. I'm not a home inspection.
Appraisal.
Thank you, Marianne. Yeah, they have to do appraisal.
It just came to my head too. Like, what is she thinking? Appraisal. That's it.
It's in my head. It's like, okay. What am I trying to say? Yes. So they have to do an appraisal on the property. Now, let's say the property appraises for, let's say, $250,000, and they're only once they put the lender puts the property up for sale, and they only sell it for $200,000. So the amount for which it has not been sold for, that goes on that client's credit report. So that $50,000 goes on to that client's credit report.
That's going to go on their credit report,
right? Because that is called a deficiency judgment.
Oh, okay. So they did a deed in lieu of foreclosure, and they have a deficiency. That goes on their credit report. Does it affect their taxes? Does it affect their score? Do they have to pay that deficiency?
They have to pay the deficiency.
Okay.
So the lender would take them to court in order to pay the deficiency.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that is definitely going to go on their credit report.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of doing a deed in lieu of foreclosure if they're still?
Yeah. Well, see, at the end of the day, the ownership of the property goes to the lender.
Okay.
The client no longer wants the property, but if the lender can't sell the property for what it's worth, then that remaining balance is on that lender. Where does the lender win at?
All right, so I guess I'm really trying to find out why would anyone do a deed in lieu when you have other options. I can't make sense out of it.
The burden of the property is no longer on the homeowner, but it's on the lender now.
Okay.
So I guess the lender is not going to allow you to walk away scot-free.
Okay. All right. So then I guess another way of them getting rid of the house too is just walking away. What if they just decided to just walk away?
Wait, so that's very interesting you say that. So when I first got into the business, and I'm still learning all the logistics and things that needs to be done when you meet with a client dealing with foreclosure. And one of my coworkers told me that they had a client who was an older gentleman, and he mentioned that the neighborhood was not the way he anticipated for the neighborhood to be. And so he lived in a home for maybe 6 years. So he went to the bank, laid his keys on the desk and said, I no longer want this property, and walked away. And they were like, listen, you cannot do that. He said, but I don't want it. I no longer want the property. And so they had to sit him down and let him know, listen, we have a process with this, and you now no longer wanting the property. But he had spoken to someone and they told him, well, if you don't want the property, just give the keys and give everything back to the bank and let them know you no longer want the property. And that's how he looked at it. But when they found out that he was working with a housing counselor, they got information from him. And then they contacted my coworker and said, listen, we're going to do a deed in lieu with him. But he came into my office and said, listen, I'm giving my keys back. I'm giving everything back to you because I no longer want this property anymore. So they took him through the deed in lieu process.
Okay. All right. So then let's go into short sale then. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in a case like him, he could have actually decided to do a short sale instead of a deed in lieu.
Mm-hmm.
If he had done a short sale instead, would that have been more favorable for him?
I think so in a way, because if he would have done a short sale, that definitely would have, there would have not been a foreclosure. If he would have done a short sale, it would not have been a foreclosure at hand.
Okay, so it wouldn't have been considered a foreclosure, but a deed in lieu is?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's kind of relevant. I mean, that's pretty relevant because I'm thinking with a foreclosure, you have to wait so many years to be able to buy again. But with a short sale, as long as your credit is okay, you could probably go ahead and buy another house somewhere else.
Because with the short sale, there's not an impact on your credit rating. Okay. Yeah, and it avoids any type of deficiency judgment and all of that. It avoids that.
Okay.
And so that's why a lot of people go ahead and do a short sale on the property. Yeah. Right. So we contact the mortgage company and we let the mortgage company know that they're interested in doing a short sale.
Okay.
And then because everything is predicated on what the mortgage company will allow you to do.
Okay.
We won't know that until we speak with the mortgage company and we provide them the information as to what's actually going on with the homeowner.
Okay.
Because of course, the mortgage company doesn't know why the homeowner isn't making their mortgage payments.
Right.
They have no idea.
Okay.
And the longer the homeowner waits to contact the mortgage company, that puts them in more danger. Where the mortgage company, a lot of times, do not want to work with the client.
Okay.
And so, thank God that we have the mediation program here in Philadelphia.
Yes. Can you speak on that? We used to go to court every.
We still go to court, but it's through Zoom. We don't go in person any longer, because Pennsylvania is a judicial state, meaning there's a court system.
Okay.
And so with the court system, the mortgage company, the bank cannot just arbitrarily foreclose on a consumer's home. And so there's a court system and a court process that's put in place. Okay. And so what the servicer does, they hire attorneys to come after the homeowner. So we have the mediation program, which we mediate on the client's behalf. And so we would go into court, and we would speak with the attorneys, and we would do negotiations. That's what mediation is about. It's about negotiating.
Okay. So is this the final result after you've tried everything else, after you've tried the short sale or you tried the loan mods, you've tried the HEMAPs? Is that when you go into mediation?
No, actually, mediation for some people, for Philadelphia, when you're in foreclosure, there's a list that gets sent to the city of Philadelphia to the mediation. Well, I believe it's to the mediation program, but the clients get served. they get served a complaint that
Mm-hmm.
says you have a court date.
Mm-hmm.
And that court date is part of the mediation program. And
Okay.
so the client answers the complaint by showing up to court.
Okay.
And when they show up to court, their presence represents, I want to save my home.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
when they show up, what we do is, let's say Community Legal Services, PLA, they have a hotline. And so they contact the individuals to let them know, hey, you have a mediation date, let them know what's going on. And then they'll put us on a calendar. It's called the Google Calendar.
Okay.
And letting us know that we're going to represent, as housing counselors, not attorneys. We're not attorneys. As
Right.
housing counselors, we represent that homeowner. We never speak to the servicer, but we speak with the attorneys for the
Okay.
servicer.
Okay.
And we do an introduction where the attorney asks the question, what are the intentions of your client? Who is the homeowner? And that's our number one question. When we meet with the client, what are your intentions? Are you interested in remaining in your home? They say, absolutely, I am. Then we move full speed ahead. I let the lender's attorney know my client is interested in remaining in the property.
Okay.
And so that's when the attorney says, okay, well, send us a packet. Send us a loss. We're going to send you out the application for a loss mitigation packet.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. All right. Because I'm trying to get the timeline together. Okay. So if they've gotten an Act 6 and they start working something out with the lender, of course, they're not going to have to go to court. If they get an Act 91 and they come in and get a HEMAP or a loan mod, then of course they wouldn't have to go to court. What gets them to the point where they're going to court? Is it because they've gotten past all of that, didn't take advantage of those options or didn't know about those options? Maybe they didn't open their mail. And now, is this pre-foreclosure? Is it now, okay, they're getting ready to foreclose? Is that when they end up in mediation?
So pre-foreclosure, you're not in court yet. Pre-foreclosure is, I'm 2 months behind, right? I'm 3 months behind.
Okay.
Foreclosure is court.
Okay.
That's foreclosure. Now you're in foreclosure. So you're in court. They're coming at you to see what you're going to do with your house. If you don't have an answer, we're going to foreclose on the property.
And this is a step before sheriff's sale.
That's the step before sheriff's sale.
Okay. Okay. You hear that, audience? If you missed that Act 6, if you missed that Act 91, and they tell you you're in foreclosure, you better reach out to this Ramona Teller immediately, okay? Or you are in trouble, okay? So I just want to make sure that I got that clear. All right. Now, one last thing on this. Some people opt to go with bankruptcy to solve this. So, can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. I would say, now for me, I don't do bankruptcy counseling, so I'm going to provide you with as much as I know. Okay. We always let clients know that bankruptcy needs to be the last option.
Okay.
Okay. We try to mitigate as much as we can, especially, Marianne, if a person wants to save their home.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, if a person says, I really don't care, I'm not interested in selling, not interested in doing a deed in lieu and doing a loan modification. Just let me just do a bankruptcy and I can just move on.
Okay.
Now, with the bankruptcy, the struggle is, number one, they have to get counseling. They have to go to an agency that provides bankruptcy services. Okay. And so, and what we would do is we would outsource them to another agency that provides counseling for bankruptcy purposes. Okay.
All right. But that is a vehicle, a tool that's available to them, but they would have to go somewhere else for their housing counseling.
Right. Yeah. And then you still have to pay your mortgage with the bankruptcy. You're not out of not paying your mortgage. That's the
Okay.
other thing. You still
Okay.
have to pay your bankruptcy. You have to pay court fees, trustee fees. So there's a lot. And nowadays, from my understanding, like back in the day, it used to be, the judges would just go ahead and allow you to apply for apply for bankruptcy. But now, from my understanding, judges actually have you provide all of your financial information, and the judge make a decision whether or not you are eligible to file for bankruptcy.
Okay. Okay.
So that's on a whole nother level as far as legal, going,
Okay.
legalities.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
I guess
another level.
the best thing is before you've got to get to that point, if you're feeling nervous about it, it's maybe good to seek a professional housing counselor to at least talk to you about your budget, maybe, and talk to you about managing it and trying to get control of your finances before you do run into these problems. Here's the question: what do you suggest people do to avoid being in this position, to avoid falling behind, and besides the things that they can't control?
Marianne, I would like to see homeowners be in a position where they can save.
Okay.
That's where the problem comes in.
Okay.
I have, for the most part, the clients that I do meet with, everyone struggles at times, and everyone have those moments of living from paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
But I really believe wholeheartedly that if you take the time out and really look at your budget, see what you can actually cut back on.
Okay.
Now, emergencies happen. I do not want to negate that emergencies happen. And I think too, if once a client purchases their home, we do give them the option to come back in for post-purchase counseling.
Okay. Oh, okay. Because I know you guys do the pre-purchase counseling. I know you do that, and most times, most people are really not paying attention. They just want to get the certificate so they can buy their dream home. But there's some that take it very seriously, but not everybody. So you're saying that after they purchase the home, they should come back for post-purchase counseling?
They should come back for post-purchase counseling.
I love it.
Because now their bills have changed.
Yes.
Right? You have some people that lived with other folks before they purchased their house, before they became a homeowner. When they were living with someone else, like you may have a person that was living with their parents. Their parents probably had them pay $20 a month towards rent. They didn't have to buy household expenses. Okay. So they didn't have to worry about, I don't have to worry about a budget. I just pay my parents $20 a month for me to do a little bit of room and board. Okay. But now that you're strictly on your own, you're responsible for everything. You're responsible for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. You're responsible for gas, electric, and water. Right? You're responsible for anything breaks down in their property. You're responsible for it. If something happens with their roof, that's your problem. If something happens with those pipes, that's your problem. It's your responsibility to look at your warranties because them pipes not gonna last forever. Right, their roof is not gonna stay in good standings forever. Right. And so that's why I always say to clients, please come back for post-purchase counseling. Now let's look at your bills, your present bills now. And
I like it.
Budget. And let's see exactly where you are to date.
Yes, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, when you get your taxes, take half of your taxes, and put it away. Act as if that money do not exist, because you're going to have an emergency. Your taxes or your insurance is going to go up. Okay. You are going to have an escrow shortage. You're going to, why has my mortgage payments increased? Well, your taxes went up. Well, your mortgage insurance went up. It's nothing you can do about it. I tell you, when mine went up, When I tell you mine went up $6, Marianne, I was ticked. I called that mortgage company. I was like, why my mortgage went up $6? Somebody better tell me something. Like, I'm out of this deal. I don't want to do this. I was almost at a point with a gentleman with the D and Lou. You can take your house back. Yeah, $6 extra, and I only been here for a year? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, you know what? See, you done just, wait a minute, you done just opened up something else. We gotta get this over with. We've been on this call for like nearly an hour, but I gotta ask you this.
When I tell you it's real, now here, I was working at a counseling agency almost 20 years ago when I purchased my house. I said, what?
Wow.
I called that mortgage company so fast, couldn't wait. I said, I'm sorry. Why did my mortgage payments go up?
You know what? I want you to speak to one last thing, and then we've got to wrap this up. Because
Sure.
when you mentioned escrows, that's really important. Because I think about the conversation we had. What was it? A couple of days ago? How this guy ended up in foreclosure, and it was really not his fault.
It really was not his fault.
Please speak to that. Please speak to that, because people do not realize that while you do have a fixed rate, your insurance premiums and your real estate taxes is not fixed. It can change. It can go up. And please speak to how it affects their mortgage. And if they don't know this, they can actually end up in foreclosure and not even know it.
So let me just put it out there what escrow means. And Marianne, you know this being a realtor, like your escrow payments, it's in the pot and it's generated the year before. It's already right. It's always generated the year before. And what happens is your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. All of that is in one pot. And so what happens is the mortgage company says, we're going to collect this from the we're going to collect this for taxes. We're going to collect this for insurance. And so we have the principal and we have the interest. So the client is paying also towards the interest, and the client is paying on the unpaid principal. So all of that is lumped up into one. And so, for example, with me, it wasn't that my taxes and my insurance went up. What happens is I had an escrow shortage because they didn't take out enough.
Right.
$6.
Right.
But to me, it was a surprise because I was a new homeowner.
Right.
So the representative from my mortgage company said, listen, she said, Ramona, she said, when we added up all of your, every, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, when we added up those components, we said, okay, she should be good for the whole year. But at the end of the year, I had a shortage of $6. And basically, it was a matter of just pay the $6 in full. That's all it was, $6. Just pay it in full. But if I didn't, my mortgage payments would have went up $6.
Okay.
So I just paid it in full.
Okay.
Now, let's speak about my client.
Yes.
My client, taxes went up. And so with the taxes going up, the client received the documentation in the mail at the end of the year that stated your mortgage payments have went up because your taxes went up. And now there's an escrow shortage. You can't be covered for the year that's coming up. Okay. We're going into a new year. You cannot be, you're not covered. And so they told him how much the shortage was. And so what the client did was the client said, okay, I don't want my mortgage payments to go up. So what I'm going to do is I am going to send you a separate check that's just for the escrow payment, the escrow shortage. When the client did that, he specifically wrote on the check. And not only that, on the envelope, he showed me escrow. He said to me, escrow department.
Okay.
So escrow department was clearly defined. The monies to the escrow department. And in them not doing that, Marianne, his payments shot up. Extremely shot up. And so now we're in a dilemma where his payments are so high and now they're unaffordable. And now we're trying to figure out, I'm asking for a payment history. I need to know, where did you apply that escrow money at?
Right.
And so that's the documents that we're waiting on now. And the mortgage company actually, said to him, suggested that the client does a HEMAP.
That's crazy.
And I said to the client, absolutely not. Why would you do a HEMAP when this situation happened in regards to no fault of your own? You didn't do this. You actually paid that full escrow shortage amount. So I need to know, where did that amount go to?
And so instead of them applying it to the escrow shortage, right, they divvied it up with everything, the principal, the interest, and the escrow.
Well, actually, that's what I need to know. So we thought that that's what they did, but we're still waiting on documentation for them to provide us, so we'll know where that escrow money is at. And Marianne, you know that mortgage companies are in the business at times ignoring these consumers. They will legitimately ignore them. So what I did was, I said, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to contact CFPB and we're going to put in a complaint because I need a payment history.
Who is CFPB?
Consumer Federal Protection Bureau.
Okay.
And so, you think that the mortgage companies have no one to report to. They report to CFPB. And so once CFPB gets involved, there's a complaint open. And then what happens, CFPB does a full investigation. So that lender will be fully investigated.
Okay. All right. Well, the bottom line for me is, the reason they do this to consumers is because consumers don't know that they have advocates. That's why I always say knowledge is the key to success. I'm telling you, you have advocates. Is there one last thing you want to say to our audience tonight?
The final thing I want to say to the audience is, number one, always open your mail. That is key to you having communication with your mortgage company. If you find yourself in a position where you were not able to make any mortgage payments for a while, at least 2 to 3 months, if you fall on a hardship, if you're now unemployed, if you have an illness or injury, you've been out of work, you can't make your mortgage payments. If you had a divorce and now there's missing income in the household, if you're in credit card debt, okay, if you're unemployed, if your bills increased, if anything has changed since you purchased your house, please let your mortgage company know. Please reach out to your mortgage company. Please reach out to them because they have no idea what's happening.
Okay.
They're not your next door neighbor. They have no idea as to what's going on. If your next door neighbor lends you $100,000, yeah, your next door neighbor's going to knock on your door when you don't keep up with that payment plan.
Right.
They're just knock on the door and ask you, well, where's that payment for this month?
Right.
But the mortgage company, they're not going to knock on your door every day. They're not going to hunt you down. They're going to start sending out documentation to let you know, this is what this is our next step. This is what we're going to do. Okay.
All right.
So I say, just always stay in good standings with your mortgage company. Communicate. Okay. And before a hardship could ever take place.
Okay.
Always make your mortgage payments on time.
Okay.
I've been there, Marianne. I was laid off.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was hurt. Mm-hmm. And my boss was in tears. I'm sorry, I got to lay you off. I'm sorry this is happening. And while he's, boo-hooing and things falling apart. And I said, I'm so sorry. I appreciate, you letting me know you don't want to let me go. I said, but I have to call my mortgage company instantly. Because in my mind, I didn't want fear to kick in. So I contacted my mortgage company. I spoke to my rep. I said, listen, I got laid off and I need to know what to do. He said, when did you get laid off? I said, 10 minutes ago. He said, and you called us? I said, absolutely. Because I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? I sure did. He said, if you lived in Harrisburg, I would hire you. Honestly.
Wow.
He said, because you did not allow yourself to get emotionally, caught up, feared and kicking. I said, no, the fear is here. I said, but me and my daughter can't live in our car. Right. I need to remain in my home.
Yes.
And at this time, Marianne, they had no workout options. They had no loss mitigation options. He said to me, the only thing I could do for you, he said, if you're ever delinquent, he said, I can waive your late fee. If you can't pay your mortgage, I can waive your your late fee one time. There was no HEMAT. There was no loan modification. And I wouldn't want to do a deed in lieu or a short sale. But all those other loss mitigation options, it wasn't available.
Okay.
So I had to navigate this thing on my own.
If somebody wants to contact you or your organization, Intercultural Family Services, how do they go about doing that?
So our main number is 215-386-1298. And all they would have to do is let the receptionist know that they're interested and get, in our services. If they could be connected to the housing department, and we would just take it from there. That's it. It's just
all right.
It is that simple. And I guarantee you, we will work with you, and we will not be afraid to negotiate on your behalf.
Fabulous. And there you have it, folks. What an illuminating conversation we've had with Ramona Taylor King, a certified housing counselor with a wealth of experience in foreclosure prevention. I hope you found this deep dive into the world of foreclosure prevention as enlightening as I have. From understanding the nuances of avoiding foreclosure to navigating forbearances, default, and credit issues, Ramona's insights have been nothing short of transformative. As we conclude this episode, remember that knowledge is the key to success, particularly when it comes to preventing foreclosure and securing your home. Whether you're a homeowner striving to protect your investment or someone looking for ways to navigate challenging times, there's always something new to learn in the world of real estate. A heartfelt thank you to Ramona for sharing her expertise and shedding light on the crucial role that certified housing counselors play in our housing journey. And to you, my valued listeners, thank you for joining me on this insightful episode of MH Knows or She Knows Someone Who Does, Unlocking Real Estate Secrets. I'm excited to continue this journey together, uncovering more real estate insights and introducing you to experts who truly understand the intricacies of real estate. If today's episode has provided you with valuable information, don't hesitate to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends and family who might benefit from the wisdom we've explored. Until next time, this is Marianne Holt signing off and reminding you that in the realm of real estate, knowledge is indeed the key to success. Stay curious, stay informed, and always remember, MH knows or she knows someone who does. Take care.